Alright guys, we have reached our location and I'm here with Alex's Nissan Primera P10. This is a motorsport legend and many of you might not even know from where, but British Touring Car Championship, for example, or TOCA racing, for the people who used to play that on the PlayStation 1 and such. This is a car I've been wanting to film for a long time. I can't wait for you to experience this car. It's so cool, and the sound of it, it's absolutely marvelous. So let's get into it. Phil, hit us with some cinematics, please. With Alex. This is the owner of the Primera, and let's just get into it. Why'd you choose the P10 Primera?
Well, I didn't very much choose it. It was just an opportunity that arose, and I just ended up buying it on a whim. And I just ended up really liking the car so far.
Awesome. So this is quite a rare car, actually, for people who don't know about it. This is the GT, or EGT as it's called here.
Yeah, it is the 2.0 EGT. It comes standard with an SR20 engine. It's the Portuguese spec. Okay. Since the GTs in Spain, for example, didn't come with the sunroof.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's ones in Spain. If you find a GT there, it won't have.
Usually doesn't have a sunroof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's also the UK spec, but don't quote me on that.
Yep. You said it had the SR, right? The SR20.
Yeah.
For people who don't know what engine that is, could you elaborate what the SR20 is?
The SR20 was Nissan's response back in the early 90s to a car capable of coasting comfortably on the German Autobahn, for example. Okay. To compete with the BMWs of the time. I don't think it does that much of a good job in comparison to like a 7 Series or a 5 Series.
Well,
but,
I mean, it does coast
comfortably.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty good engine either way, because they used this engine during the BTCC times as well. Yeah, heavily tuned, but it was this engine. Yeah, okay, so it was this one. That's very cool. As you probably saw on the cinematics of the car, you've seen the engine. You'll be able to recognize it when someone pops the hood, but in terms of driving the car and how it feels, I think we just get right into it, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's go for a ride.
All right, let's go.
All right, guys, so we are now in the Primera, and well, to elaborate more on your ownership, you've owned it for how many years now?
So I've owned it since 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Late 2017, actually.
Okay, yep.
Like very late, around November or December, I forget.
Yep. And where'd you go and get it? Like, was it local to you, or did you have to travel far? Is it import?
So it was a mix of local and non-local, because this car belonged to a friend of mine, and she moved down to Algarve. So she took the car.
Yep.
She had some issues with the car back then, and had some issues with the people where she was living at. Okay, yep. So she had a bit of an accident with the car. The car was non-running. The car was dented to hell and back. The car didn't start, didn't even, nothing. It would crank, but it wouldn't start. Oh, okay, yeah. And they wanted her to get rid of it like as soon as possible. Yep. So over a cafe conversation with her, I proposed, since she was thinking of getting it scrapped. Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I proposed that I buy it. So
Yeah.
she threw a price, I said yes, and I went down to Algarve to pick it up on a tow.
Yep. Since owning it, you've obviously done a lot of stuff to the car. What are, let's say, the 3 top things that you enjoy the most about the car?
So, in terms of what I've done to it, what I've come to enjoy the most is the way the engine reacts and the way it handles. And I'd say the styling. I enjoy the styling of it.
Yeah.
If I had to name one for each category, I'd say the suspension setup, the camshafts, which are tow-made.
Yep.
I put in an order for some brand new pond cams back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, 2020 maybe.
I remember when you got them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say the rear wing is something that I enjoy thoroughly.
Yep. I mean, the rear wing is such a, how to gently put this?
Prominent.
Yes, it is the absolute crown on the car at this current setup, at least. Like, everyone notices it.
Yeah.
In terms of it turns heads so fast, people are breaking their necks, and it's so fun to be driving behind this car and seeing people react to it, because this is also, like I said in my previous video, actually, this is one of the cars that at times just makes my car completely invisible. I just drive behind your car, and well, it's just such a red ruby rare piece of jewelry that just goes through streets that people almost never see.
Well, I wouldn't put it like that, but I do appreciate the words, even though we had a situation earlier today where that actually happened.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say. So it's proven, you know, it's proven. And I mean, to all of you watching, I've been wanting to do a review on this car for years. I mean, the channel is just barely 2 years old, but we've actually known each other for 3 now.
Roughly 3.
Yeah.
Going to almost 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my first year in Lisbon, I didn't go out much, and then I bought the Integra, and then I eventually met you.
Yeah.
Basically. And I gotta say, not a lot of people I've gotten to know are as meticulous as you. And in terms of that, I want to touch on a few of the points on where you get your parts and where you get your stuff for the car, because you're very thorough when you look for specific parts to put on the car to make it more your own. And why is that, basically? Because a lot of people just throw some stuff on, like, oh, look at this carbon looking, you know, piece of styling, and they put it on, and it does look good for the most part on most cars. But you source out, like if we take into account the steering wheel that you're currently utilizing,
Yep.
that's off of a Skyline.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is off a Skyline R32 GTST.
Exactly.
Not the GTR.
Not the GTR, but still, I mean, you're sourcing parts that are very hard to come by. Same with the wing as well.
Some of them.
The farthest you've ever gone with the car is probably up to Orense.
Oh yeah, Orense.
Yeah.
It's the first time I actually drove outside of the country with any car, for that matter.
Okay.
And that was the biggest trip that I took with this car.
Yeah.
In terms of distance.
Well behaved, yeah.
Yeah, I had no issues with the car except, you know, fuel consumption. But you don't look at fuel consumption when doing something like that with a car like this.
Absolutely not. So how is it in terms of fuel usage?
Oh, it's absolutely awful. I can't complain more about the fuel consumption.
Really?
Of this thing. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It drinks like an Irishman.
Okay.
I am so sorry.
Well,
no offense. I love the Irish.
Yeah. Still, so it's heavy on fuel consumption, sure.
Yeah.
But then again, this is also miles per miles, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with the car. I don't have this car to be economical in terms of fuel consumption.
True. Well, you used to daily this thing.
Oh yeah.
But now you don't.
Yeah, no. I recently got an actual daily, so I could spare this and to, you know, save up some money on fuel. but
sure.
I did daily this from the day I bought it up until August last year.
Yeah. The value of a P10 GT now, do you know where it is, like around, in terms of buying one that's, let's say, in this condition then?
I've seen in better condition going for around 2.5, 3,000. They're rather cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
They were one of the cars that, from what I've noticed, their pricing took a kind of a plummet.
Yep.
During the whole thing that happened in 2020.
Yes, the thing that...
I'm not going to say the word,
nope,
unless you want to get demonetized.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, during the whole 2020 situation.
Yep. The staying home times.
The staying home times.
Yes,
yeah, let's call it that. The P10, from what I saw, actually decreased in its sale value.
Yeah. I would dare say that for people looking for a car that can fit 5 people, because this is registered for 5 people.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So, because many people are afraid that, oh, well, it's only 4, but this is for 5.
Yep.
And I would dare say that this, for just like 2.5 to 3.5, maybe let's say a pristine one gets you 4.5. You have a really good one. That's very cheap.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like, if you disregard like only the engine aspect or the 0 to 60 or the top speed, like you're buying a lot of car for that pricing, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, because you're getting everything you need. You're getting a pretty potent engine.
Yeah.
I mean, you put different cams in and so on, but still, like the 2-liter GT is rapid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it's very engaging driving this thing, and I think it's got a lot to do with the chassis being in motorsports. So a lot of people undervalue, but also underestimate this car.
Yeah, like you can really test out some driving styles with this. Obviously, it's a front-wheel drive, so no drifting. But there's more to life than rear-wheel drive, in my opinion.
Another thing that really strikes me about the 2-liter SR is the sound of it. Of course, you have a back box that isn't original.
Yeah,
but
it is
the rest of it.
So this has the original headers.
Yep.
They're tubular stainless steel from factory. No catalytic converter. Has the middle muffler, which is still the original by Calsonic.
Yep.
And then I have a Sebring dual-tipped back box.
Yeah. And the sound of it, guys, is absolutely crazy. In my opinion, this is a great first owner's car. Maybe not the 2-liter engine car, because they do come in SRI models as well, 1.6, but also 2-liter SRI. Would you care to elaborate what the, well, not maybe main differences, but like what are the subtle differences between an SRI model as opposed to a GT and so on?
As far as I know, it's horsepower.
Yep.
Not sure about the brakes. I actually don't know much about the 2.0 SRI. I know there's not a lot of differences between the 1.6 SRI. Yep. Except, well, obviously the engine.
Of course, yeah.
Never really took that much time to actually search about it, since I don't own any.
Exactly.
But I do know the 1.6 SRI is a very capable engine, and the car moves
fairly quickly, I would say.
Fairly quickly, yeah. You can absolutely rev the tits out of that thing, and it'll go.
Yeah.
It'll go.
That's cool, because for younger people, I think it's a brilliant alternative as a first owner's car.
Yeah, super reliable too.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, because they're also very reliable, because you've gone outside of the country and back, no issues whatsoever, just fuel consumption. But if you own the 1.6, that's not as big of an issue.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I would say that owning a Primera P10 is a brilliant choice. So to end this, out of the 3 things that you've done to the car, you've mentioned 3 already.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you have quite the list to go through as well on things you would like to do.
Yeah.
But what are the 3 next things that you feel will make the biggest difference out of that list?
So I would wager the next 3 big things that I have planned that I'm most excited for would probably be the engine rebuild, which I'm going to be rebuilding it from scratch, like from zero.
Yeah.
I want this engine to be like as good as it was when it came out of factory, and then
Yep.
some. So I'm also going to be altering some of the engine internals. I'm still not sure what I'm going to be using, but I do know what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm going to get it resprayed, but like actually prep the chassis and bodywork and get it properly painted this time.
So the exterior of the car, basically, or the whole thing, interior-wise as well?
I'm thinking interior-wise as well. Like stripping the car down to its shell and then just getting it actually prepped and then painted.
Yeah.
And lastly, I would like to experiment a bit with NA setups, but like in the singular intake throttle and all that. You know.
Yeah.
In other words.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out what I want to do in regards to that, but yeah, mostly engine-wise, but you know, exterior as well.
Yeah, I see. Well, guys, it's quite clear that the plans for this Primera is quite extensive, but then again, you're a mechanic by trade, so that makes it more doable for Alex than in case like you're looking at yours and you're like, I have no facilities to do that or anything. You don't have to do that to have a proper Primera. As far as what you've done up until this point, you haven't been doing any like proper full-on body work, paint work. It's just the cams in the engine, as far as I know as well, correct?
Yeah, steering, suspension,
exactly.
brakes, interior-wise, electricity and all that stuff.
Yeah, so all of the things that have been done to this car, you could do yourselves. Well, up until a certain point, of course. You don't put coilovers and adjust those by like doing and then checking and hoping it's fine. You do that at a professional, but you can buy them and have them installed just the same, you know. So I think this is a brilliant car based on budget in terms of what it gives back to you. So I give this a huge seal of approval, and the only thing left to kind of do then is for me to drive it myself.
Yep.
Alright guys, it's my turn in the Primera, and it's so cool. I'm literally a kid in a toy shop because it's just such a joy to drive this thing, and the sound of the engine. I don't know if you've noticed earlier in the video that Alex usually drives it at the top gear of the car very often, and I'm used to driving a Honda. So to me, these deep burbly sounds that you hopefully hear with this, I'm not used to hearing those, but I love them because they, how should I say it? It makes the car feel stronger. It makes it feel more powerful when you're driving than always being high pitched. That's why this car is so much better driving long distance, and why Alex probably said it's so comfortable driving at these distances, because, well, in the Integra, I'm driving the same speed, but I have 2,000 RPM. No joke, 2,000 RPM higher the whole way.
Yep.
So, of course, driving this car comfortably is amazing. It's so good. And the confidence you get in driving this. Now, of course, I'm not driving this very actively. We're just following the road and the speed limit and driving it like a normal freaking person here. But still, like at any moment I could, if I wanted to, just decide to throw it down in third gear and just blast through anything, and it would perform immaculately. It's quite crazy how well put together the Primera is. Even though you've done a couple of things to the car, it's still just perfect. Strange to be able to say that, but I think this car is perfect. Based on what's been done to it, what's going to be done to it as well, probably will make it even better, which is expectable. But, I mean, every single minute detail of this car makes me just, this is what it's supposed to be about. It's people taking a car that most other people have no clue exists. And to me that's crazy. Not knowing what this car is, or what it did in motorsports and how important it's been in terms of development for Nissan themselves, or Nismo. Like, it's so underrated, it's so underappreciated. And you're so lucky that it is, because you can get these for a very low price still. And in the future, I'm guessing in the future, prices of these will eventually skyrocket. Not like insane amounts, but they will be at least worth 3 or 4 times as much as they were before. Listen to this thing. It's crazy. I just love how it sounds. It's insane to me. Normal to you.
Well, yeah, it's just another day for me.
Right? And I'm so jealous that this is just your everyday. How often would you say you would have to do maintenance on a Primera?
Well, it depends on the state of the car.
Yep.
Obviously, if you got a good unit, you won't have to worry about a lot of things. A more worn down unit, you're gonna have your usual bushings, brakes, fluids, some piping and hosing could probably be corroded as well. Worse shape. But I mean, my experience with it, there's not a lot of things that break down on it. And usually the ones they do is because of legal and the 360.
Oh,
and an MR2.
And an MR2.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry you're not getting these guys, because now we've seen a lot of good cars while driving, but I'd still pick this over. I would. I'd still pick this car over those 3 that we just met. Well, listen to this then, since we're...
Yeah.
I'm not even pushing. It sounds so freaking good, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, every day in this thing, and you get to hear... Nah, it's crazy. It's so good. And you're gonna make it better?
Well, I would think so. I like to say that every time I touch the car, I end up devaluing it, so...
I mean, it's taste, isn't it? Yeah. I dare say you've improved the car every time you've done something to it. Absolutely. Driving this thing is a dream. It's so responsive. Your setup for your suspension is really good. Even though you still have a little bit of stuff that you want to do.
Very much.
Yeah. But it's so planted. Like, this turn was quite steep. Didn't feel it in the car. It just follows the road. It doesn't...
Yeah, you can really cut into angles with it.
Absolutely. We don't lean over like this or like this when we're driving this thing. It is such a fun drive. And it inspires confidence. A lot of confidence. If you set a Primera up perfectly, I don't think you need any other car. Truly. If I was crazy enough, I'd probably sell mine and buy 2 of these. One for track and one on the road.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, it's pretty darn close, I have to say. Autech is one of the tuning companies that handled Primeras, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, specifically or?
Not specifically Primeras, but it was one of the companies that handled Primeras alongside Himpel and Nismo, I think, and Tommy Kyra also did a couple of kits for this car.
Yeah. And Tommy Kyra is actually very prolific in a couple of things.
Yeah.
Because they also handled the Skylines.
Yes.
They actually even had them made under their own name.
Yes.
At points. Did they do that to the Primera as well?
It's not easy to come by information about it because it was rather rare.
Yep.
As far as I know, it was just a styling thing that Tommy Kyra did.
Okay. So just exterior stuff for
just
the
aero.
Yep. So good. Like, and where in the register as well in the engine you get the sound from the exhaust. You don't even need to push. You just get this absolutely perfect growl from the car. I just do that all day, so I fully understand why the fuel economy on this thing isn't as it should be. Because, well,
not gonna say that's not one of the reasons.
I mean, I'd be doing it all the time. Like, I'm really struggling not to do it all the time right now. You know? Because it's like we're barely over 2,000 RPM right now. Barely over. And I can just... There, 2.5. And the sound is just... Yeah, it's hard to explain. The audio...
Yeah, recording usually doesn't give it much justice.
It really doesn't. It really, truly doesn't. Guys, you have to get a hold of one of these. If I have the privilege of getting a daily, I'll probably get one of these. Because, yeah, I would love to drive one of these every single day. And maybe save a few kilometers on the Type R. But I wouldn't be saving anything on fuel. I'd probably drive this so much that I'd use more.
Hey, you got the 1.6.
I could. That's true. Get the 1.6.
Yeah, I got a 1.6.
Yeah. Just to keep the value of the 2 liters? Or?
Oh, I mean, no.
No, not at all. I mean, don't buy exactly what I have, but like that's close to it.
I don't gatekeep.
Nah.
I couldn't give less of a shit about that, to be honest.
Alright guys, I've been driving this thing for long enough, and I can tell you it's a must-buy. Out of all of the cars I've ever driven, out of all of the cars we've ever reviewed on this channel, based on what you're getting, as opposed to what you're paying, if you don't buy a Primera P10 when the prices are low, and just cherish them and build them and keep them, you're out of your mind. Truly, you are out of your mind, because these will go up in value. I'm 100% sure. And when they do, if you own one, just like you lucky son of a... Yeah, you'll be happy you did. It's as simple as that. So with that said, I'm gonna let you have your baby back. And thank you very much for watching. Just in case I'm closing off from driving, thank you very much for watching the video. Remember to subscribe, and of course hit the notification bell so you know the next video we upload. We've been doing a lot of reviews lately, and if you want us to continue to do so, then we need more of you to subscribe so that we get hold of cooler and cooler cars, or more special cars, just like this one. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.